want to thank everybody for joining us here on Food and Funk. I'm your host, Eugene Arana, and we are very thankful to be joined today by Nina, host of Sunrise Souls on 91.5 WPRK. Thank you for joining us, first of all.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored. Thank you.
So we're here to talk soul, we're here to talk music, we're here to get a taste of what soul is like coming out of Central Florida here in Orlando. So first of all, tell us about yourself. How long have you been involved in the music scene in Orlando specifically?
Well, when I first moved to Orlando 30 years ago, I was on the radio at that point. I was young, I was down here, but radio doesn't really pay a lot unless you're like really big. So I started with the local R&B station. I moved to a jazz station, WLOQ. I was there for a summer and did Nina at Night. So that really got me into jazz and sort of smooth soul. But then I had to stop and make a living. So I went into education, and I was in it off and on. And just recently I was offered a job hosting a talk show on WPRK. So I started doing that about 2 years ago, and then I transitioned into my soul music show. So that's what I'm concentrating now on, just Sunrise Soul.
So speaking of soul, where does the soul come from? Where does your soul come from?
I think my soul comes from, I think maybe the origins of jazz, R&B, gospel, and really that's what I think soul is all about. It's a combination of all of that, because black music really originated in the church, and then in some of the jazz houses and the speakeasies, and we took some gospel music and added sort of a vibe to it, and that's really where soul started, and I think that's where mine did. I'm from Ohio, so around Pittsburgh, big soul music area, and that was my influence at that time.
Do you feel that in Orlando? Like, do you get those same vibes, on your regular days in Orlando?
Most definitely. But there's not a big outlet for it. There's not a big, I don't know if I want to say outlet for it, but you can't get it. I mean, so many of the radio stations, they play just your basic top 40. So that means that people my age are forced to listen to Beyonce. Not that there's anything wrong with Beyonce and Rihanna. I like work.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think soul means to Orlando, the city itself?
Soul, I think, means to Orlando is exactly what everybody else, of my generation grew up on. You want that soul music that has, lyrics that you can all sing to and that you can dance to. You want a stepper's groove. You want to be able to dance to it. You want to be able to sing to it. You want to be able to, have dinner to it. You want to be able to, have an evening with your man to it. And I think that's what soul is to Orlando. It's just that kind of music. I think the music now is meant to last just as long as it lasts. About 3 months. You're jamming to it, you're gonna listen to it for about 3 months. Now, 3 years from now, are you still gonna be listening to it? No matter what happens, we can always go to an Earth, Wind and Fire song, a lyric from Earth, Wind and Fire. That's gonna fit perfectly now and be current and be contemporary now.
What is the power of music? What do you think? What do you think music can do?
Oh, music is so powerful. Like I said, I did a talk show, and the talk show was for seniors, and we talked. I don't know how many shows we had on how music is healing to the brain. It's therapy for Alzheimer's patients. It's therapy for people suffering from dementia. One song can bring them back to their life, can bring them back to their childhood. One song, a couple of lyrics can take you to your best days, your worst days, take you right back in time. And so I think that's a very powerful thing that not many other things can do.
We've talked about the power of soul and the power of music. It seems like every single time that we turn on the news or that we look into our social media, there's tragedy. Tragedies in our faces, people getting shot, lots of violence. You'd hope that an artist would speak what Marvin Gaye spoke in his What's Going On album, but what does Sunrise Soul in particular mean for Orlando, especially in times like these?
I think that I play music that is current, that is healing. Even when we have something tragic happen, I can put a show together that will be 2 hours of healing. And I was very proud of my show that I did right after the Pulse massacre. I found some music, and I really feel like, sometimes God puts you in a place. And it might seem really trivial that, I host a radio show, but I think God has put me here sometimes just to bring that music, to bring that healing to whoever is listening. Because music just fell in my lap when I was putting that show together. And, we all went on Facebook, and, you had the app where it was I'm safe, So if you were here in Orlando, you could click I'm safe, and all of your Facebook people would know. And I found a song, who was it by? I forget now. Safe in His Arms, and it was a gospel song, but it had a really, an R&B groove to it. And I just thought this was the song we need to hear this morning. And another one by Eric Clapton, his music. So I feel like that's a little bit what I can do every week is, I always end my show with, I hope I changed your mood today with one song. I feel like that's my job. And to bring music that you don't get to hear. I get to represent all those artists who are sticking with R&B, that are doing soul and R&B and not rap and hip hop. Not to say that it's bad, but somebody's got to keep soul going.
Oh yeah.
So I play those people. So that's my job. So remember, however you feel, always get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. Until next time, namaste.